NFC South showdown as the Saints welcome the Tampa Bay Bucks to the Superdome for the Saints home opener. Will the Saints sink the Bucks and keep their win streak alive against Tom Brady and company? The Saints are looking to start the season 2-0 for the first time since 2013. Welcome into Saints Game Day Live, presented by Sanderson Farms. I'm Erin Summers, joined here by John DeShazer. There is so much excitement around this game. We're really excited about being back here, first home game of the season, and we have a lot coming up in today's show. We'll have the breakdown. JD will catch up with a former Saint, and then we'll talk to Juwan Johnson in the Players Spotlight. And don't forget, all game long, to hashtag Saints Game Day, so we can interact with you on Twitter, and you'll see tweets scrolling across the bottom of the screen throughout this show. Before we get to all of the storylines heading into this one, definitely want to remind you to tune in at noon on Fox to watch the game. So let's get into it, JD. It's the countdown presented by Bullseye. Want to know, both of these teams heading into today's game. The Bucks did it in a very different fashion than the Saints. Bucks won 19-3 over the Cowboys in Week 1, and the Saints, well, we're not going to forget the way that they came back for that 27-26 victory over Atlanta. What are you taking from Week 1 into Week 2?
Well, if you're the Saints, you like the fortitude, you like the execution down the stretch. You know that it's there. Do you want to fall down 16 points in the fourth quarter? No. But if you have to have it, you know that that reserve is there. Now, what I do like is the resiliency. Dennis Allen has said to anyone who would listen, this is a tough and gritty team. They needed to be tough and gritty in order to win that season opener. But again, you don't want to put yourself in that position. I think the execution can be there. They've shown that they have that execution in a small increment. You want to expand on that if you're the Saints, but the intensity level you love. You love the fact that they stayed with it the entire game, even though they fell down. No one hung their head. No one thought the game was over. They always believed, and that's half the battle in the NFL.
The fans are going to be back here in the Caesars Superdome for the first time this season, which will be extremely exciting, and it's going to be really fun watching two New Orleans natives, wide receiver Jarvis Landry, safety Tyrann Mathieu, making their debuts in the Dome. They had great outings in Week 1. What can you expect with the heightened emotions coming into this one from them?
Well, I mean, they're veteran players, so you'd like to believe they won't be nervous, but look, this is home. And both of those guys have dreamed of playing for the Saints at some point in their career. Boyhood teams, so now they get an opportunity to play for their hometown team on the home turf, wearing the home jersey. There has to be a little bit of nervousness, a little jitters, a little butterflies that you hope will come out soon, because these are veteran players. They understand you got to get to the game. But certainly, you look in the stands and you find your family, and they've been waiting to see you in this position. It's got to mean a little something to you. Hopefully, that'll dissipate pretty quickly.
Emotions will definitely be high there. It's something we've been following all week. Quarterback Jameis Winston being back here in the Dome, playing against the Bucks for the first time since his Week 8 injury last year. And it's against his former team. You've talked to him this week. How has he handled the circumstances heading into this one?
Well, he sounds calm for Jameis, but Jameis is a high-strung guy. I mean, he is an emotional guy, and so I can't imagine that being back in the Superdome on the turf for the first time since he tore his ACL, missed the last 10 regular season games last year, that it won't be somewhat emotional for him. It would be for anyone in his position, I would believe. Now, again, he's got to lean on his professionalism. He's been in the NFL at quarterback for quite some time now. But I can't imagine that some emotions won't be churning as he runs out on the field, as he throws his first pass. Hopefully, it'll be something easy, a check down pass, or something easy to get him into a rhythm offensively, because we saw what can happen when he gets into a rhythm offensively. But if you're Jameis Winston, you've got to feel some type of way getting back on that field for the first time since you tore your ACL.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out pretty soon. Coming up at noon on Fox is the kick. For a look at the Bucks, we're going to head it into the Superdome to Todd Graffinini.
Thank you, Aaron and JD. Of course, Tampa coming in here at 1-0 after last week's 19-3 dismantling of the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Tom Brady, 212 yards passing. He had a touchdown and an interception, but it was Leonard Fournette who was really huge for Tampa in that ball game. 21 rushes for 127 yards. Now, big story this week has been the injuries to the Tampa offense. You've got wide receivers Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Brashad Perriman, all questionable today with their injuries. Chris Godwin is already out with a hamstring, so that has been a big story all week. Will those guys play today? They're already going to be doubtful with their left tackle, and that is Donovan Smith. Right tackle Tristan Wirfs is questionable with an abdomen. Defensively for Tampa, they are stout. They sacked Dak Prescott 4 times in that game against Dallas, 7 tackles for loss. Front 7 is outstanding, led by linebackers Levante David and Devin White. This has been a Tampa defense that is top 3 in the NFL in the last 3 years in both sacks and takeaways. They're one of 2 teams that were in the top 5 in both categories. Todd Bowles, their head coach, was their previous defensive coordinator for those 3 years, so he knows defense. Now, of course, the national story all week long has been Tom Brady against the New Orleans Saints. He is 0-4 in the regular season. Why has the Saints been so successful against Brady? Well, pressure and turnovers. Brady has thrown 8 interceptions in the 4 games against the Saints. Of course, the game-sealing pick 6 right here in the Dome last Halloween from P.J. Williams sealed that deal. But also the Saints have sacked Brady 13 times in those 4 games, far and away more than any other teams. Second place was the Falcons with 7. That's all I have here in the Dome. Aaron and JD, back up to you.
Thanks to Todd for that look at the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have been much improved on the defensive end under first-year head coach Todd Bowles, who was a defensive coordinator heading into this season. However, the Saints, they've had the Bucks number, especially on defense going up against Tom Brady, who was 0-4 against the Saints since he joined the team in 2020 in regular season games. It's an odd little matchup there that the Saints have had the better of. How can they keep it going in this one?
Well, it begins up front for the Saints. That's where they've been able to dominate Tampa Bay over the last couple of seasons. Tom Brady, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's been sacked 13 times. He's got a couple pick 6s. Because of that front 7 by the Saints, they've been able to stop the run, make Tampa Bay one-dimensional. If you can stop the run, you can kind of control what happens on the opposing offense, especially if you can cover in the secondary. If you can get receivers off their timing, you can bump them around. And the Saints have had the personnel to be able to cover those receivers. Different personnel this season, we'll see how it works, but it always begins up front. If Cam Jordan, if Demario Davis, if Marcus Davenport, if David Onyemata, if Pete Werner, if they do their jobs up front, it'll make life a lot easier on the back end. And so that's where it begins for the Saints. Saints have the best run defense in the NFL over the last 5 seasons or so. They'll need that again in this one to make that a one-dimensional offense.
The Saints run defense allowing 201 yards on the ground against Atlanta in week 1, something they looked at cleaning up heading into this week. Defensive end Cam Jordan has had 2 games previously with the sack against Brady. He's looking to make it 3 in a row. He didn't get him twice in their last matchup, so something about that. He really enjoys going after Tom Brady. So we'll watch that, as well as you mentioned, the secondary with Marshawn Lattimore going up against wide receiver Mike Evans. It's been a fun matchup to watch in this rivalry battle, really. Marshawn has done a good job against Evans. Evans usually averages 5 receptions a game and has been held to 1.5 when he is against Marshawn Lattimore. So that's something to watch as well. And earlier this week, JD, you had a chance to catch up with one of our former Saints legends, the former running back and return specialist, Darren Sproles. Let's take a look at this week's edition of The Breakdown, presented by Microsoft.
Joining us now, Saints legend Darren Sproles, works in the Philadelphia Eagles personnel department right now as a consultant, but we're not going to hold that against him because it's a really good organization. But certainly good to see you, Darren. How's everything going?
Good.
Now we'll jump right into it. The Saints have been the most successful regular season team, certainly against Tampa Bay the last couple of seasons, a 4-0 record, and they've kind of found the secret sauce to beating that team during the regular season. What have you seen in that situation where the Saints have been so successful where other teams have struggled?
Well, you know what? The Saints really match up with them well, and they also know how to control the clock too, to keep Tom Brady keep them off the field.
You know, it's simple to say, but how difficult is it to be able to accomplish what you want to do defensively with, you know, just your defensive linemen and not having to dedicate more guys to going after Brady because, you know, they're able to get to him and they don't have to dedicate extra pressure.
Yeah, that's the way to beat them. You gotta pretty much your front four they gotta do all the work. Then you also gotta have the coverage behind it. So you start blitzing too many people, you leave a wide open guy.
Yeah. Were there situations like that when you played where teams were able to just kind of, you know, teams kind of had the secret recipe to stop the offenses you were on because you were a guy that could play in multiple positions? Did you see any teams that you can remember defensively that kind of had you guys as number, whether it was with the Eagles or the Saints?
They pretty much had to pick who they wanted to like take out of the game. You know what I'm saying? So we had Jimmy Graham, Marcus Colston, like Lance Moore, Pierre Thomas. So we had weapons. Mm-hmm. So it was like you pretty much have to pick one person who you weren't gonna let beat you. But we had more people.
Yeah. 2011, 2,696 all-purpose yards remains an NFL record, and that record might stand the test of time there. And I don't know if anybody's going to get close to that because, you know, nowadays you get situations where, you know, you can't get kickoff returns because, you know, everything's going out of the end zone. The punters are so good, they can angle it to the sideline and kind of hem guys in. You don't get a lot of punt returns. Do you see that record being broken?
It's a lot of touchbacks now. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to get some of them yards like on kickoff return and stuff like that, but somebody could get it. You know what I'm saying? Like they pretty much got to be. They gotta be running back these punts, I feel like now.
Do you look back at it now and kind of, you know, pat yourself on the back or marvel a little bit at the durability? Because again, like I said, you know, you filled the role of two or three players.
I actually did a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was times whatever when I had to take like all the kickoff return, all the punt return. Then I had to take all the snaps on offense. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it when I look back at it sometimes, like I'd be like, wow, sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time, Darren. Thank you so much for joining us. We wish you much success, except for that one game this season when we're going to see the Saints against Philly, because we're tired of this Philly stuff. We got to get this rectified in New Orleans. But we thank you so much for joining us, man.
Well, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Running back Darren Sproles was always fun to watch on special teams as a kick returner, and special teams, he did really well in week 1. It's been great having kicker Will Lutz back after missing all of last season due to a core injury. He hit that 51-yard field goal to win the game in Atlanta. Great to have somebody with that kind of leg. It was his 14th career field goal over 50 yards.
Will Lutz has been a really special player for the Saints. Another guy who's trying to make an impact is the subject of our player spotlight presented by Sanders and Farms. Aaron was able to catch up with tight end Jawan Johnson this week.
Jawan, it's year 2 going into the tight end position from wide receiver.
Yeah.
This past game, though, he had 2 receptions, 46 yards in that fourth quarter comeback. And I saw you out there blocking a lot of people.
Yeah.
How much more comfortable are you in that role?
So much more comfortable. I just feel like, you know, just knowing the offense and getting comfortable in it, and then being next to guys like Trout and Taysom, those guys helped me along the way. I feel like it gives me a lot of confidence, knowing that I can go out there and get the job done.
Other than all the food you got to eat to put on weight, what have you liked about this tight end role?
I liked everything about it. I mean, I feel like you have to be so smart to play the role. I mean, you have to know what kind of technique you're going up against. You have to know the linebackers, you have to know the safeties, the corners. You have to know so much that goes into a tight end. It's probably one of the hardest positions in football. So, you know, just knowing all that and taking it all in, you just got to have fun with it, and that's what I've been doing.
You had a birthday recently.
Oh, yeah.
So happy belated.
Oh, thank you so much.
I heard that your wife threw a little surprise party for you after the game on Sunday.
She did.
How much fun was that, especially after the big win?
Oh, man. I feel like I was really surprised. I mean, I didn't expect so many people to show up. For me, I never really had a birthday, even a surprise at that. And so just going up in there and seeing my friends and seeing my teammates and her friends and wives, NFL wives. So it was so fun, had a great time, and it felt even better celebrating it after a win.
You have the Bucs, another
Absolutely.
division foe that's coming here in the
Yeah.
Superdome.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to get a win?
It's going to take everything. It's going to take definitely all 11 guys. It's going to take all 46 guys who's playing on the roster that day. So it's going to take all of us. They know our game plan. We know their game plan. So it's not really a schematic thing. It's really just who wants it more. And so we know that we're not just playing them once this year. We're playing them twice or even 3 times, wherever the case may be. But we know we have to go out with a win and kind of set the tone for the rest of the year.
6, 5, 4.
Now looking at the offense in today's game, JD, I'm taking quarterback Jameis Winston off the board because we talked about him earlier. Who are your offensive players to watch?
Well, I'm going to go with the 3 guys at receiver, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave. They made such an impact against the Falcons. They will need to do so in this game because Tampa Bay will take away the run. It is difficult to run against the Buccaneers, but there might be some one-on-one opportunities for those guys out wide and in the slot. They have to be able to beat those coverages. They're able to do it in week 1. Let's see if they can do it again in week 2.
Wide receiver Michael Thomas is averaging 99.9 yards against the Bucs. In receiving yards, that is, it's good for 3rd in the NFL all time. So we'll definitely watch that group and make sure to download the ASAP app to get all your game day needs delivered right to your door. Use code SAINTS22 to score free delivery, tickets, autographed items, and more. ASAP is the official mobile ordering partner of the New Orleans Saints. Definitely something to check out there if you need anything throughout the game. Now, we put it off long enough, but there are a lot of fans around here in their black and gold, and we definitely want to check it out. So let's go to the black and gold roll call presented by Bud Light.
I was a boom operator in the United States Air Force, so that's where this costume came from. This is my original helmet from the Air Force. I painted it black and gold, got a black flight suit, got a bunch of patches, and it's all about the Saints now. Yeah, it's the first game back in the Dome. We're ready. Go Saints!
I'm Mario Gutierrez from Kenner, Louisiana. My name as a super fan is the Crusader. Go Saints!
We're from Wauchula, Florida, probably about 11 hours from here. We drove up here for Michael's, Little Sean's 5th birthday. We got Brody, we got Connor, we got Selena. And we drove over here to watch our first home Saints game. Us being from Florida, maybe an hour and a half away from Tampa, I get so much stuff talked to me about being a Saints fan, but hey, we weren't traded for nothing, man. We are freaking excited, and we are here today to watch it.
We're both from Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan.
It's my first time in the Dome. It's the first time, we're first time in New Orleans. It's the first time in the Dome, so very excited. We love it in New Orleans. Michael Thomas, 2 more touchdowns.
I did 3.
Go Saints!
I love the Saints, and I just had to get me a suit made. Go Saints!
So much fun having everybody back here at the Caesars Superdome. Make sure you're hashtagging Saints Game Day so we can interact with you on Twitter all day long. And for a look at today's inactives, let's check in with Acadian Ambulance's list of inactives for both sides. We're going to be missing several key players. We have running back Alvin Kamara, who is definitely out for today's game. Even though as somebody that we were watching, he is out. And on the other side, wide receiver Chris Godwin and Julio Jones.
Yeah, that affects Tampa Bay's offense tremendously. Obviously for the Saints, if you have Alvin Kamara not on the field, that affects the Saints offensively. A little bit of a surprise with Peyton Turner being on that list because he looks to be a healthy scratch, but that tells you the confidence that the Saints have in the guys they have on defensive end in this game. So hopefully the depth will prevail for the Saints in that area.
All right, we have some fans that have joined us here. We're getting really excited for kickoff. Right here in the Caesars Superdome, these fans are going to be cheering loud. We'll be right back here after the game on NewOrleansSaints.com or across social media for the post-game show with head coach Dennis Allen, players JD, Todd Brafdanini, and myself. Thank you so much for watching Saints. We're hoping for a Saints win. We'll see you after the game.